We are going on with question 9 of paper 1 for June 2024. It says the graph of fx is drawn below. E and G are the x-intercepts of f. We can see that with fx we have a partial solution. We have the x-intercepts of E and G, and notice that E's coordinates is -1 and 0 and G is 5 and 0. 9.1. Show that A is equals to 1, B is -3, and C is -9. So I have fx is equal to ax to the power of 3 plus bx squared plus cx minus 5. So what I know is that I can rewrite the equation of this cubic function as a times x minus x1 times x minus x2 times x minus x3, where x1, 2, and 3 represents the intercepts with the x-axis. Now you would notice that I have 3 values that I consider, but in this equation I only have 2 x-intercepts. That means that one of the x-intercepts repeat. So y can be written as a equals to x minus x1 squared, that's the value that repeats, times x minus x2. Now if I substitute my x-intercepts, I have a is equals to x plus 1 squared times x minus 5. Now the reason that I put in the plus 1 with the square, because that represents the turning point or the stationary point of E. So E equals to -1 represents both x1 and x2, or you can say that's the intercept that repeats because the turning point is on the x-axis. And remember, it's minus x, so it is minus 1, and that's why we have plus 1. Now before I multiply out, I can find the y-intercept. So from our equation, we can see that if we make x equal to 0, that the y-intercept would be equal to -5. So when x is 0, y is -5. And if I substitute that into my equation, I have y as -5, which is the constant value from our equation of fx, is equals to a times 0 plus 1 squared times 0 minus 5. And if you simplify, you have -5 times a times -5. Therefore, if I solve a, I can see that a is equal to 1. Now let us find the values of b and c. So I'm going to use this a in my equation for y. So y is equals to a, which is 1, times x plus 1 squared times x minus 5. So if I expand, I have y is equals to x squared plus 2x plus 1 times x minus 5. And if I expand further by multiplying out, I have x cubed minus 3x squared minus 9x minus 5. Then we can see that b is equals to -3 and the c value is equal to -9. So therefore, b is equal to -3 and c is equal to -9. 9.2. Calculate the value of x for which f has a local minimum value. So here we can see that the local maximum is at point E, and that means that the local minimum is still undefined, or we still need to find this local minimum. At the local minimum and maximum, we know that the first derivative or the gradient is equal to 0. So from our previous question, we have the full equation of fx as x cubed minus 3x squared minus 9x minus 5. And if I take the first derivative of fx, I have 3x squared minus 6x minus 9, and that must be equal to 0 at the local minimum and maximum. And now I can solve for x. So you can either use your calculator or you can factorize. So I'm going to divide everywhere by 3. And then I have a simple trinomial which I can factorize. So the factors of x is x and x. The factors of 3 is 3 and 1. And I put in the signs at the right places to get to -2. So therefore the values of x when I solve this equation is -1, or x is equal to 3. Now you can see that where x is equal to -1, we have the local maximum, but the question says find the value of x for the local minimum. So therefore x would be equal to 3. So on our graph, the local minimum, we have x equal to 3. Question 9.3. Use the graph to determine the values of x for which f double prime x times fx would be bigger than 0. So it says use the graph. So let's look at our graph. So first we need to understand that f double prime x is referring to the point of inflection. Now the point of inflection is where concavity changes in our curve. And that will be the point exactly in the middle of our stationary points. So we can find the x value for the point of inflection. So the x value would be in the middle of -1 and 3. So therefore that x value is at x equal to 1. So here where x is equal to 1, we have our point of inflection, which is f double prime x equal to 0. Now you can see everything moving towards that point is concave down, and what that means is that the concavity or f double prime x would be smaller than 0, and to the right of the point of inflection is concave up. That means everything to the right of that point, we have f double prime x is bigger than 0. And then at that point, we have the point of inflection, so the second derivative would be equal to 0. Now the question said, where is f double prime x, or the second derivative, times fx bigger than 0? So in terms of multiplication, something would be bigger than 0 if we multiply a positive value with another positive value. So that will give me a positive result. Or when I multiply two negative values with each other, which will give me also a positive result, which is bigger than 0. So based on our graph, we can inspect to the left and to the right of the point of inflection. So to the left of the point of inflection, we can see that the second derivative is smaller than 0, which is negative. Also, that the graph of f is below the x-axis. So that means that fx is also smaller than 0 or negative. Therefore, in this section, we have a negative multiplied by a negative, which will give me a positive result. So it satisfies our equation. So therefore, where x is smaller than 1. And now let's inspect to the right of the point of inflection. So up until the x-intercept of 5, we have fx is smaller than 0 or negative because it's below the x-axis. So in this section, we have a negative multiplied by a positive, which gives me a negative result. And that does not satisfy bigger than 0. But to the right of 5, we can see that fx is above 0 or positive. So that means that fx is positive here, and also the concavity. So f double prime x would also be positive. So a positive times a positive will give me a positive result. So therefore, where x is bigger than 5. So for question 9.3, The second derivative times the function is bigger than 0 for x smaller than 1 or for x bigger than 5. Question 9.4. For which values of t will the graph of px, which is fx plus t, have two distinct positive roots and one negative root? So let us inspect our function. Here we have fx. We know that fx has a negative root and a positive root. Now the question asks for what must the value of t be for it to have a negative root and two positive roots. So that means that the function must intersect on the negative side of the x-axis and at two places on the positive side of the x-axis. So what we need to do is we need to move the graph of fx up in such a way to have positive values and one negative value. So let's look at some critical values. We know that the y-intercept is -5. And we know that the local minimum is where x is equal to 3. Now if I substitute x equals to 3 into my equation of fx, I have a y value of -32. And we know that px is equals to fx plus t. So this plus t part is only focusing on vertical movement up or down. So that means we're looking at y values. So in our graph here, I'm only going to consider the -32, which is that y value. Now can you see that if I take fx and I move it up from -5 to 0, I'll have a negative root, then one root going through 0 and one positive root. And if I move it up all the way by 32 units, I'll have a negative root, and that 32 would become my positive root. So one negative and one positive. So I notice that the graph can move up by 5 units for it to reach 0, so cutting through 0, and it can move up by 32 units in order to move or have one positive root. Now anything in between that, so let me quickly draw that in. If I move up by 5, I have one positive, one negative, and one root at 0. And if I move up by 32, I'll have one positive root and one negative root. So can you see that in between a movement of 5 and up by 32, there will be a negative root and two positive roots. Anything more than 32, there will be no positive roots, and anything less than 5 units will give me two negative roots. So t needs to be between the blue and the pink graph. So that's between 5 units up and 32 units up. So up means positive, so it's 5 units up, all the way up to 32 units. And that will answer my question for what values of t will I have one negative root and two distinct positive roots. So that's for t between 5 and 32 units. Thank you for watching. Remember to show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to Mathenatic.